Orlu, are you ready to go? BzK, Heresy, best of 3 here for the ECL East Asia stage. For the 2v2s, of course. This is a long tournament, and we are rapidly approaching the halfway point. Things are getting... Well, things are heating up, absolutely heating up in the standings. It's all to play for still, and this 2v2 event is going to deliver. Orlu, let's hear from you. What are you thinking about these teams and positionings on the map?
All right, so I'm definitely real excited for this because spawning here in the east of the map in the red for Team Bazookas will be Miguel as the Huns. His teammate, legend from Tyrant back in the day, in the yellow as the Malians will be Riot. And their opponents for Team Heresy will be our Coacher brothers with Fëanor in the blue as the Italians to the west and Melkor as the green as the Huns to the north. Zach, walk me through these Civ picks.
Interesting, isn't it? Because it looks to me like the Heresy team, and the Heresy team here, as we've seen so far, they've not done so well. They are the underdogs in pretty much every matchup, but they've always tried to do something different. They've always tried to think outside the box and come very prepared to the games. And last event, it nearly worked out for them in the 4v4s. They very nearly took a series, I think it was from Frantic even. But they weren't quite able to do it. They've got to pull something out here. And as you can see from this Italian and Hun pick, they've obviously got the water on the mind. They want to win those puddles. This map, of course, featuring these two big lakes to the northeast and the southwest. And since they've spawned quite close to both lakes, I think they're going to try and contest those lakes as well as they possibly can. Huns, of course, very versatile civ, great for this map because they can fight on land and water equally. And I think, obviously, with Italians here versus the Malians, I do think, obviously, that Italian player is going to have the edge on the puddle.
Oh, yeah. Puddle control is going to be, I think, of the utmost importance here. The entire edge of the map is, forest, kind of like arena style. So everything is just kind of, pushing you towards the center in terms of control of the puddles and the choke points that will litter the center of the map. We do have a little bit of a scout battle. Looks like with the help of a villager, Miguel will be winning that, chasing Melkor away. And something that I just noticed about the map here for Melkor is his gold and berries are both very dangerously close to the water. So if he loses control, that could be a real big problem for him.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. I think we'd probably expect to see galleys coming out, and they'll get ranged quite easily from the shoreline. So he does need to win that. And obviously, Melkor versus Miguel here on the right side. They're both playing Huns, so they will be evenly matched there. And then it's just going to come down to raw player skill. And I've got to say, Melkor has been considered by many, I've seen the AoE zone threads, as one of the most improved players of the year. So we'll see what he can do here versus Miguel. Obviously, both players a lot of experience. Melkor, as I say that, runs his scout into Miguel's TC and loses it. That's going to hurt, as Miguel's scout stays alive with 9 HP up here. And then on the left side, Fëanor and Riot both docking as well. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, just you just cast a curse at him, but what else would you expect? But yeah, got, I think, pretty normal looking stuff going in on the I guess south side of the map. You can see that Riot was actually the first player to get his dock up and is a little bit ahead in terms of fishing ship production. Just Riot, incredibly mechanically sound player. Not surprised to see him with a really solid Dark Age, of course. Malians having the cheaper wood cost on buildings. Do you kind of get to play the Dark Age in easy mode?
Yeah, definitely. And this is interesting. Have you seen this from Fëanor? He's like double walled in this villager to stop any attempt at Riot like killing that vill. She is so secure behind these walls, and she's going to build that second dock nice and early, actually. Have you seen how early that is? The second dock's coming up, and he's not even clicked up to the feudal age yet. He's still queuing up vills. This is interesting that he's done that so early. He's obviously going to try and drop off food now. He's not quite got the food he needs. He's 60 food away. And, well, he's not. Of course, he's the Italian, so he can click up even faster without needing to get to 500. So there you go. He is up to the feudal age. The second dock is already up. So I'd say Fëanor's off to a very solid start here and might have the edge on Riot on the water.
Yeah, certainly. Riot not going over to the second dock just yet. And he is still gathering from food, so it doesn't seem like he might not want to go full water. But we'll have to see. It looks like the players, the Hun players in each team are going to be going for full water as you would expect. Seems like pretty streamlined early games from everybody involved. But of course, like I said, Fëanor with the extra dock much earlier, not even building his yet. So it's going to be, I think,
No.
pretty easy for Fëanor.
Well, it's interesting because he went for the mill. Look, he's already built a
Yeah,
mill
building
here.
barracks.
And does anyone else have a mill at this stage of the game? No. And then on the right side, yeah, Miguel with the barracks coming up. But Melkor's fully walled, look, and I think Melkor is absolutely committed to the water. You can tell that because of the way it is. No, he's got 5 villas on the gold, fully walled up, second dock coming up here, and Miguel, no second dock in sight, but instead it is a barracks. And we'll see if this works out here, as both of them look to be getting aggressive on the land, while the Heresy team are really focusing heavily on the water.
Yeah, we see Riot throwing down a stable the second he hits Feudal Age, and Miguel throwing down an archery range. So it's going to be the sort of Heresy team going for the water, and the BzK's team focusing more on the land. So I feel like this should inherently give an advantage to the guys going for water, so long as Heresy can wall, which it seems like they're doing, sort of. And
Sort of. I think Fëanor's leaving it a bit late right now, don't you think?
Yeah.
It's getting a little dangerous for him.
Yeah, those scouts are going to be coming in very quickly, and especially since, Fëanor was committing to the water so early and so aggressively, I would have liked to see him just walled up, nice and safe at home, just to, sort of protect you from, I don't know, having like 4 scouts run into your base and make you very sad. But yeah, you can see fights starting to break out here with the good old fire galleys, first fishing ships going down.
Yeah, on both ponds as well, actually. Melkor here going to be killing the fish of Miguel, and Riot's losing his fish very quickly as well. So that's already cost the BzK team, but if they can strike back with some scouts now and kill villagers, they're going to be pretty happy about that. And as I say, Fëanor leaving the walling a little bit too late. He won't close that wall off on the right side, and now Riot just has free easy passage into our blue player's base here, while he tries to rush up a barracks, and that's even going to get denied or delayed a little bit as those villagers turn to fight, but Riot brings in a 3rd scout. Those villagers need to get back toward the safety of the TC, and that's going to delay the barracks even further, while Fëanor tries to close those walls off.
Yeah, I mean, this just goes back to the why didn't you wall sooner sort of thing. And you can see the barracks thrown down in an entirely haphazard location. You can tell this is just a panic barracks, like, oh no, I need spearmen like now. But obviously, because of that weird positioning, it will be delayed. I think there was a demo hit, maybe from Miguel. I think he killed a couple of fire ships or something. Or no, maybe it's the other way around. Melkor has a huge kill death ratio advantage.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell with demo ships.
I think he killed, I saw 2 fire galleys on the water from Miguel, and they're both now gone, and Melkor still has all of his fish. So I think Melkor conclusively winning the water on the right side, while on the left, Fëanor's conclusively won the water there. So I guess the question now boils down to, how good is that water control going to be? Is this going to give Heresy the edge now thanks to the additional food income from the water? Or will they crumble because they're getting doubled now? So the best you can do on the water is a 1v1, right? But on the land, BzK, Riot, Miguel, they can actually group up together. They can actually double Fëanor right now. And we're going to need to see some kind of response. Yeah, he's trapped in there.
Yeah, those villagers are, they're not having a very good day, and they're going to go down. And I guess, like you're saying, the question comes down to how much is the water worth on this map? And you'd think it would be worth a fair amount because fishing ships do gather fish, well, incredibly fast.
Fishing ships do gather fish, you're right.
Yeah, very insightful commentary with Thornlow. But how is that useful when you're losing all of your villagers to scouts and archers?
Exactly, and that's a good 4 villagers down already. The tower goes up, though, which pushes the archers away, while those scouts, they don't even have bloodlines yet, and they've still, dived under the TC and done good damage here as well. They're going to back out now as Melkor sends some scouts over and we get some more spears from Fëanor. But score-wise, they're a little bit ahead still. Even after losing a few villagers, they do have 10 and 6 fish, which is a lot more than could be said for BzK. So even after losing a few vills, they'd still have to lose a lot more to be behind overall in population. Look at the population difference here of the 2 teams. There's about 11 additional population on the side of Heresy right now.
Yeah, but most of that is in Melkor right now, who's just been pretty much untouched this entire game. He did wall, right away, and he went for the triple dock, and something I noticed is that the second he won the water, he started adding in more fishing ships, and he's now up to 11.
Crazy.
So his food economy is looking real good, and it's just going to be a matter of don't die at home while you can try and get up to the castle age.
Well, I tell you what, it's good enough for 2 stable scouts as well, and that's actually what he's transitioning into here. He's done bloodlines, he's just doing +1 defense, and I think that Melkor is very concerned about falling behind too much on the land, because if they fall too far behind on the land, they might struggle to get the population count up, even with a tech advantage that would come from having a faster castle time. So they're trying to stabilize a little bit here with scouts. Fëanor is actually stone walling. I wonder if he's going to sling. He is. There's a market coming up, and we're actually going to see Fëanor slinging Melkor to the castle age while he makes scouts. And then Melkor will transition, I imagine, into knights off the back of that. So he's got to get castle still. He's making a lot of scouts right now. Rhea, on the other hand, he's already over halfway.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't like the decision to go for scouts whatsoever, because if you're transitioning into scouts when your opponents already have scouts plus archers, you're just kind of never gonna catch up, in my opinion. So I feel like, okay, the sling idea, it's not the worst idea ever. When a player's behind, usually they sling. That's just how this game works. But I feel like if, say, Melkor was actually faster to the castle age, I feel like he could have, walled himself in. I mean, he has walled himself in. As these scouts are not doing anything for him right now. So
But
like,
they might be about to. If this stable goes down and he gets the surround on these archers, if he deletes his palisade wall, he does, and sends everything in, he could clean this up. But now Rhea is in the castle age. Melkor is still going to have to hold on while he gets to the castle age himself. A good fight here, though, for him at the moment. He cleans up all the scouts from Rhea. It looks like he'll probably kill all the archers as well. If I had to guess, I'd say he's won that conclusively. But on the other side, same thing happening. Miguel is actually slinging Riot, and now we've got knights on the map heading straight over there.
yeah, interesting. I'm kind of surprised that Miguel is transitioning into the sling. I thought that, especially when you have both players going for land, you might as well use, 2 armies. But obviously, it's going to be all about the sling players now, making a lot of knights and such. Of course, we have to remember that Malians will have access to camels to potentially counter any knights. So, of course, Huns will have the faster working stables, or they could just go into triple range cap archers.
Exactly. I was thinking originally, he's going to go into knights here with the 2 stables, but it looks like Melkor's just preparing for all eventualities. He's quickly scrambling to stonewall up here, though, because Riot is bearing down on him and threatening to break through here very quickly. There's still 3 archers, and Melkor diving in with his scouts. I think he wants to try and kill the archers, but he ends up fighting the knights. And that's going to make it harder for him to wall up successfully as those villagers are getting picked off. But if he just buys himself a little bit more time, he can start making his own knights and cavalry archers. But this is looking like a very bad situation at the moment for Melkor. The knights are in, and he's got no defense.
Yeah, this is looking pretty terrible. It's 2 military right now for Melkor. He has +2/+2 knights with bloodlines in his base. Like, he's trying to throw down a second TC, but this might just be the killer move. I thought that the fact that Miguel just had a few archers left that totally prevented the stone gates from working out. It might have been just the single move that potentially is going to win BzK's this first game. But yeah, there's just like so many knights right now, so well upgraded too, that oh god, there's just so much damage being taken by Melkor. And as the sling receiver, like, you just can't be taking this much damage right now.
Absolutely not. I mean, this TC is full now with 15 villagers, but he's got no fletching, so it's doing so little damage to these knights that they've still managed to kill 8 or 9 villagers under here as well. Meanwhile, the knights from Melkor are starting to come out. They're not as fully upgraded as Riot. He doesn't have the +2 attack. He's starting to get cavalry archers out, but he doesn't even have Bodkin arrow yet, so they're doing very little damage as well. What he is hoping to do is get his numbers up quickly, but the economy damage is huge. There's villagers dying at the back now as well, as they've gotten through somehow. I think maybe they just walked around the gate. I don't think that was even closed. And it's all just rapidly gone, well, down the pan, to be honest, for Heresy here, as BzK are looking absolutely dominant right now.
Oh yeah, it seemed like the land strategy worked out really well from them. It seemed like, BzK's went into this, they looked like they had a very clean game plan. Like, they knew what they were going to do, and they had a really nice execution of it. And of course, that amazing team play between the two of them that we definitely expect from these guys.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to look at the stats and see how many resources were actually collected by both of these teams, especially the food, because obviously both of the Heresy players, they had so much water control, they had so much additional food from the fish, but I think that the strategy was what cost them that game. If Fëanor had been walled up sooner and didn't let the scouts in, that would have been a huge a boost to them, of course. And if Melkor perhaps didn't go for the scouts and just managed to stonewall up behind this, then that could have been much better as well, because the difference in the castle time was what really cost Heresy there. It wasn't the fact that BzK had 8 scouts and 10 archers. It was the fact that Riot had knights pouring across the map, and Melkor couldn't wall up in time to protect his base from them entering.
Yeah, not at all. And I think that pretty much sums up game number 1. It's interesting that we still saw Riot with the most food collected.
Oh, really? Let me check the stats here as well.
Yeah, and that's not even close. Like, he had a lot more food collected.
Let me actually get the stats up. Wow. That's quite crazy, isn't it? Really.
Riot's strong.
Yeah. The amount of sling as well was pretty similar. There's only about 150 difference in the amount of sling sent, with Fëanor sending a little bit more. But it surprises me just how much additional food was gathered. Obviously, Melkor had a lot of extra wood, but that's because he was focusing more heavily on the water, of course. But that's impressive. BzK, a very strong performance in game number 1, making this series 1-0, as they are going to be going into game 2 feeling pretty good about themselves, I imagine, after quite a dominant show in the first one. Steppe will be our next map. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that first game there. Nice to see 2 different strategies being deployed, but obviously I think BzK just outplayed them.
Yeah, I think in both strategy and execution, BzK's had the upper hand. Steppe is a very different map, though. It is our Nomad start map of the pool, so we'll have to see if maybe we're going to see something special here. Civ picks, I think we should see Chinese from both teams, but what do you think of the non-Chinese Civ from these guys?
Yeah, there's a few options available. I think Franks could be quite good here, if I'm not mistaken, or Mongols as well, actually. Obviously, maybe even the Mayans could work out. But, you know, it's such an open map in the middle. You have all the extra deer on Steppe. So it's worth trying to think about the deer. And if you can control the map with a lot of scout play, I think that's going to be the way the teams approach this.
Yeah, definitely. I think Mongols Chinese sounds like a good duo. Both of the civs can kind of go either way in terms of, okay, if one person needs to go scouts and one person needs to go archers, like both civs can, you know, switch back and forth between doing that. The Mongol player can take advantage of the hunt. The Chinese player can take advantage of their extra starting villagers. Seems good to me.
Yeah, very versatile civs actually on this kind of map. Just real quick, thank you for the 100 bits Chenla and the 5th Knight. Appreciate that. And thanks Polska fan for the subscription as well. We appreciate that very much. Lots of cool stuff on the horizon for Escape. And well, ECL is really just the tip of the iceberg. So I can't wait to be able to put more out there. I'm just wondering how did Polska fan put that Santa hat on his 14? Do you see that in the chat?
Oh. Huh.
That's quite cool.
It is it's a better Twitch TV global emote, I guess, for the holidays.
Yeah, but it's on top of the 14. These guys are like 3K chatters right here. They know how to do it.
Does that mean you can add a Santa hat after Ornlu a Wolf? I'm trying that.
You can, I think. Try it out. Get emote crazy. Oh, look at it.
It's
That's
artwork
awesome.
in motion right there.
Combined emotes coming in hot. All right. Look at that. They look so good. They look so good.
Oh, that's perfect.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for the support, guys. We're going to get our second game going right now. Of course, that's going to be Steppe. And, well, as I say, you're expecting to see the Chinese. I'm expecting to see some Mongols, Mayans, maybe even the Franks here as these players contest the Steppe in game number 2, which is starting right about now.
Well, once the game loads.
Yeah, I mean, we have to wait for the game to load. Robo started the game, but it takes a few seconds. But you guys putting the 14s in the chat, you guys are putting the wheels in motion, and the game is loading up right now, and we are in it to win it. Welcome, everybody, to game number 2 between BzK and Heresy. And hey, look at that. We said Chinese, we said Mayans, Mongols, and Franks, and well, look at it. It's Chinese and Mayans, Chinese and Mongols here. Really strong Civ
casters right here.
combos. You said it, Orlando. I couldn't say it better myself. I'll let you introduce the teams.
Oh, of course. Anyway, for Team Bazookas, we will have Miguel in the red as the Mayans here to the southeast of the map. His teammate in the yellow to the southwest of the map will be Riot as the Chinese. Then for the Heresy guys, needing to win the next 2 games if they want to move on in this tournament, leave Fëanor in the blue as the Chinese to the northwest of the map, and finally in the northeast of the map in the green as the Mongols will be his brother Melkor.
Yeah, and I think, Chinese Mayans, Chinese Mongols, I mean, Chinese, obvious choice, the extra villagers, powering up the TC faster, getting off to a solid start here on step. But I do think I like the Mongols more than the Mayans here, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they really have that whole history thing going for them as well. I mean, it's Chinese and Mongols on step. I mean, it really couldn't ask for
synergizing with history. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, the Asian history person in me is coming out right now. But
this is what you went to school for. This is your moment to shine.
This is my moment to shine. It's not like I'm in the middle of finals and have written like 20 pages of stuff on this topic over the past few days, but it just there's never enough.
You can always enlighten us further.
Oh yeah. Or I could, actually be interesting and talk about the players and stuff and something
yeah,
that
you could.
I could, I mean.
But do you want to?
But yeah, can already see that everyone who is playing a Civ with an extra villager, so everyone except Melkor, is already at a 1 to 2 villager advantage. It's why you see these Civs picked on these maps. And yeah, obviously that's kind of, like Zach and I were saying, you just want the good starts on this map. It is very open in the center. I mean, it's entirely devoid of anything except deer. So we're kind of going to see plenty of action fighting over all of those deer spots in the center of the map. And this map is also incredibly open. Usually walling is kind of tricky here, so we see a lot of tower defenses, especially because your stone is so close to your TC. So I definitely think you're going to see a lot of aggression here.
Yeah, and speaking of the maps, actually, I mean, it does still vary a little bit as to where your TC goes, because it's a nomad start. You put your TC where you want to put your TC, right? You look at Riot, and his stone's actually really far away from his town center. He's got some over to the east, he's got some up to the north, but that stone's about halfway toward his enemy. It's certainly not too safe. And then you look on the right side, Miguel, and he's put his TC between some gold and some berries. His stone is also a little bit further away. Not that I'm suggesting a tower rush is likely here at the moment. I do expect we'll see scouts from the Chinese player, probably scouts from the Mongol player, if they want to go for the double scouts, which I think could be a strong opener. And even in the case of Miguel here, I think we're going to be seeing some drush action, perhaps, or maybe more like man-at-arms, as he probably doesn't want to open with archers, as that could be considered a little risky here.
It could.
Against the Mongols, though.
Yeah, it's against Mongols. So I feel like if you play defensively with your archers, it might be okay. I mean, Mayans in general are going to want to be a bit more defensive early on.
How defensive can you play with the Mayans on this map, though, given how open, look at where his wood line is, how, he's got to wall this somehow if he plays defensively like that. He could still go straight into archers. We'll see if that works out for him. But the scouts from Melkor are going to be coming out very quickly before Miguel has even thrown up his first range here.
Yeah, unfortunately, the poor horse of Fëanor has fallen to the TC of Riot. You do start with a horse and not a scout cavalry on this map, so not able to harass any villagers or anything like that. Yeah.
All right, interesting. Yeah, Fëanor here actually going into gold now, so it looks like he'll actually go straight into archers, and we'll see him going with the archers here. And Melkor focusing on the scouts, of course. You can see that stable is already up, and his first scout will be coming out before anyone's even close to the feudal age at the moment. Riot will be the second player up to the feudal age, and he will be likely playing the scouts for his team. You can see he's not on the gold, and it does indeed look like Miguel will be going straight into archers himself with the 3 villas on the gold. You know, the Mayans should perform a little better than the Chinese in terms of the archer play, but you do have to consider the speed of Melkor here in getting those scouts on the field.
Yeah, of course. And then beyond that, we have to imagine that our Heresy team's going to be taking map control, right? We already see Fëanor so confident that he's milling the center of the map.
He's doing a second stable, man. This early.
Oh,
That's good. I mean, that means he's going to be taking a lot of deer, and you're absolutely right. They're going to be playing up for map control. Look at how far forward Fëanor's archery ranges are as well.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. But man, double stable scouts so early on, obviously taking advantage of all that extra hunt. You can really see Heresy pulling out all the stops here in terms of aggression, but they really do need to get some damage done. No villagers killed just yet, but they have forced Riot off of the hunt.
Yeah,
So
and he's
we're gonna have
built
to
a mill out there as well. To be fair, he did take most of the deer, and those villagers took a little bit of chip damage, but nothing went down just yet. But yeah, you're right. I mean, once he links up with the archers of Fëanor here, they need to do damage quickly.
Yeah, definitely, because we can already see that Melkor is still behind in villagers, 1 to 2 villagers. So yeah, definitely think they need to start getting some damage done. Miguel, of course, getting fletching quickly. It's the advantage of going for archers with no sort of man-at-arm or militia component. And I think that maybe the bazookas are going to be okay. I think.
Oh, yeah, they will. I mean, have you seen how fast Melkor completed Bloodlines here? He already has it.
Yeah.
Riot will not be getting Bloodlines for a little while, I imagine. He just simply doesn't have the food. And Fëanor now supporting with archers. Even if Riot does add in some spears, there's absolutely nothing he can do with them. So Riot's going to lose pretty much all of his army. He's going to be pushed off of the berries. He needs the help of Miguel, but hey, what player is Miguel? He's the Mayans. What's Miguel doing? He's doing archers. It's going to be a while before those archers make it over, if at all, because he's actually sending them toward Melkor right now. And Riot is taking the damage, and that's so important because, as you said, that's exactly what the Heresy team need to do.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of surprised that Riot was playing so at a cavalier, you could say, having the villagers still out on the forage bushes. I mean, he knows that his teammate is, as Mayan, is going to be pretty slow. So the fact that it's just kind of like inviting yourself to be 2v1'd, and the second that you saw Melkor's uptime, you knew that your opponents were going to be aggressive. But we're going to see if Miguel can pay back Melkor in kind, coming in here with these archers. They do have fletching, of course. We'll get a couple villager kills, trying to even up things.
Oh, but they're out in the open, and that spearman there, if that gets focused down, which it will, because, hey, Bloodlines, he should kill all of these archers now. And so Miguel will get 2 villagers, but he will lose his whole army for it, and then Melkor will keep his scouts alive. At the same time, Fëanor still trying to push in with his archers against Riot as well. Things have got to be considered to be looking good for the brothers right here, the Heresy brothers.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And yeah, it kind of goes to, I'm not really sold on Mayans on this map. Like, to me, Mayans are at their strongest whenever they can like Drush FC or just straight FC into Plumed Archers. I feel like on any sort of super open map, you're just going to be a little bit slow in the early game. And we're kind of seeing that right here.
Oh, and this is some good communication here. Look, Fëanor's going to try and slow down this tower with his archers, and barreling in from the east side, you've got Melkor with the scouts. Riot's about to get doubled again, and these villagers, man, if he can't quick wall this, he's in trouble. Can he close it off? Of course, the archers are right there. So many villagers going down to the archers. Can he even finish the tower? He can't. The scouts are in as well. Every single villager from Riot is going to die, and I don't know, if I was Riot right now, I'd feel pretty GG. You've got half your eco idle, half of it just died. What is Riot going to do in this position, and how on earth are they going to stabilize? They need Miguel's archers over here ASAP, and well, they can just outmaneuver those archers from Miguel.
Yeah.
Play.
Remember we were like a minute ago when I said that Mayans were really slow on these sorts of open maps? Miguel's army is showing up like, hey guys, I'm here. You called Riot, you need some archers? And Riot's just face palming.
And look where Melkor is. He's immediately counterattacking to Miguel now. So Miguel's now having to have idle time. He's now having to like think, okay, well, do I keep my archers here? Do I move them home? Like, what do I do? Meanwhile, Fëanor's given Miguel the slip, and Riot's just taken all that damage for free, essentially. He's finally got the tower upon the wood line, but it's too late, and the damage is already done. I love Heresy's position, and as I said at the start of this game, I feel like Mongols are stronger than Mayans right here. For now.
Yeah, definitely for now. I mean, the villager counts aren't catastrophic, I think, for Riot. I mean, like, okay, I mean, I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying they're even close to good, but he is, quote, only 4 to 5 villagers behind Miguel, or Melkor, rather. So
yeah, that's true.
That is something you can come back from given enough time. And I think now the onus is going to be on Miguel to get to the castle age and hopefully like get a castle for some bloomed archers, which can certainly do work. But as we were saying in the very beginning of the game, well, Miguel's stones are a little exposed, and that house is losing HP at a fairly alarming rate right now.
Yeah, and they're going to be 2v1 against Miguel here as well. Miguel doesn't really want to fight right now because he's not got the numbers and he doesn't have Castle Age yet. He's going up now. If he can get crossbow, he might even be able to clean a lot of these scouts up. But at the moment, he just simply cannot take a good engagement unless, of course, he can fight under this tower. This could be pretty good for Miguel. They do need to move away from the tower and then maybe they can take this fight comfortably. The Heresy team here do have to be very careful because they are trapped in the back of Miguel's base. Miguel just trying to hopefully buy time for the Castle Age to come through, and that tower is definitely doing work.
Yeah, it's getting plenty of shots in with these arrows. I'm kind of surprised at the amount of like milling around that the army of Heresy has been doing. I feel like they've just been taking a lot of unnecessary shots for free, not really, I think, coordinating how best they want to take the engagement. But in all of the chaos, they have still been getting some villager kills, so I think they can't be too unhappy with how this is going. And of course, this is still causing idle time. It's still keeping Miguel at home.
That's true. And actually, these guys can get out the back as well. There is actually an exit out here. So I assumed Miguel was fully walled, but he wasn't. There's actually a hole at the back anyway. But they don't know about it. They're actually trying to fight their way out. If they were just to go around the back, they'd be able to run out here. But now they're trapped, and crossbow bodkin arrows coming in. This is exactly what I was saying, that Heresy have to be careful of. They might end up losing their entire armies here. They will take down as many archers as they can before the upgrades come through. It's a bit of a suicide mission, but if they can at least kill as much as possible rather than just taking the damage for free, that's the best way to go out, as they do get cleaned up, and you could argue that this is BzK's way back into the game here.
Yeah, and on the other side of the map, I did see that Riot was raiding Fëanor's base. I think he got maybe a couple villagers and caused some idle time, but nothing, I think, too catastrophic for Heresy, and I think that everyone should be able to get up to the Castle Age okay. Honestly, pretty decent Castle Age time for Riot, considering just how much damage he took.
Yeah, at the moment, I think that's quite important that Riot was doing damage inside of Fëanor's base. I did miss that, but if you have killed a few villagers, that's started to equalize the villager count out a little bit. Riot is still 6 villagers behind, however, which is going to be tough, but the Castle Age is there, so he's not going to be caught out tech-wise, and he will start to be able to put down a second and third TC if he likes as well, to try and catch up a little bit. Meanwhile, though, Melkor now coming over with knights, once again linking up with Fëanor to hit Riot again, and Riot really can't afford to lose more villagers here.
Yeah, I mean, he does have his wood line here fully palisaded in, but he's going to be losing at least another villager here on the TC. His farms are spreading out in a very far direction, but yeah, I feel like this is going to be even more dead villagers here for our yellow player, and this is really not what he wants to be seeing right now. Again, the problem of slow armies, and that's a hole.
Age of gates, man. Just gate after gate after gate, but they're only palisade gates now, and he cannot wall that up fast enough. With the knights in there, he could tear down the tower pretty quickly as well. Obviously, Melkor already has +2 defense, but Riot starting to make some camels, and of course, that's the versatility of the Chinese there, able to add in the camels as needed as well. But hey, there's quite a few crossbow here. I don't think Riot wants to take that engagement right now until Miguel shows up to the scene, and Miguel completing ballistics right now. They might catch these guys out and clean up their armies again, but the eco damage to Riot has already come in. He's down to 27 vills again as Miguel just shows up on, to kind of save the day, but it's kind of too late in my opinion still.
Yeah, the ballistics is going to be nice for cleaning up, straggler knights and crossbows, but okay, they lose. That is to say, Heresy loses this army. Like, do they really care that much? They got a ton of damage done onto the eco of Riot once again. And, well, Melkor and Fëanor, they can just kind of boom up behind this. You can see second TC already done for Fëanor, third nearly complete. University coming in for his own ballistics. Melkor, meanwhile, already up on 3 TCs, booming away, highest villager count in the game. And I feel like just their raw mobility and ability to group up as a team and decide when exactly they can take engagements has really been just why they're succeeding so much in this game.
Yeah, I'd like to bring attention to the fact, actually, that Melkor here is ahead in the villager count right now in the game. He was the Mongol player, remember? He didn't have any villager bonuses at the start, any number he didn't start with additional villagers, I mean, and he had the lowest villager count all the way up to the castle age, and now he's the pop leader. That's really impressive, in terms of villagers, that is. But these guys are starting to fall behind a little bit in military now. They don't quite have the numbers of archers that Miguel has, and this is now allowing BzK team to start pushing back on this left side. And that mobility thing is a two-way street. Heresy are going knights and crossbows, so cavalry and crossbow, and BzK are going cavalry and crossbow as well. This engagement here could be pretty good for Riot and Miguel.
Yeah, the camels do seem to be able to find some sort of attack onto the knights, which is of course what they want to be doing, not attacking the crossbows. And some nice micro there from Miguel, able to snipe his enemy's crossbows. And they have a much larger army right here, Zach. How is this a thing? Right now it's Heresy on the back foot.
Yeah. Well, I think Heresy got a bit sloppy with their army, throwing it away. They did do a lot of eco damage, but in the end, now the Mayans are starting to shine. Now the Mayans are starting to come into their own. Now it's Miguel with the villager tied lead and with the largest army in the game of 20 right now. Things could start to snowball for BzK if they go unchecked, and they're currently sitting in the heart of Fëanor's base, looking pretty scary, actually.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, the thing with Mayans is that if you're in a position where the Mayans have at least, if not the most villagers, one of the most villagers in the game, it's pretty bad because their archers are, 20% cheaper in the castle age? You can afford a lot of expos at this point. That's exactly what he's doing. He even has 4 monks at home to ward off any potential knights. And yeah, there still is army in Fëanor's base right now. Like, that is not okay.
There's a lot of it as well. There's a lot of knights coming through from Riot. Melkor is coming in with some knights as well, but this is another problem. They built their military buildings so far forward. The reinforced distance from Fëanor is huge. He's got to send his army all the way back from like the middle of the map just to get to his wood line in the back here. And meanwhile, the raiding damage is coming in. The villagers are going idle. And this house, man, I don't know if that's going to be standing much longer as these knights go to town. But if they can catch them out, if they can get them, to be a bit too greedy in here and clean up these knights, could be good for Heresy still. But things are certainly equalized, and Heresy weren't really able to convert that strong start in and snowball it into something more.
Yeah, and I really think that's a bit of a difference between Heresy and maybe like some of these like top teams that we see like, winning most of the ECL events, is that they've really been unable to capitalize on an early advantage in both game number 1 and what appears to be in game number 2, as Miguel is on his way to the Imperial Age right now. And yeah, I feel like that's just been a real big problem for them in this series so far.
Just Mayan things, man. And this is exactly how BzK are going to start to snowball this game with this Castle Age advantage that they found. Instead of being greedy and booming, they recognize now that they've got a military lead and that they've just won a couple of good fights. Instead of booming up to 100 vills, going imp and going for plumes, which is a bit more expensive, he'll go plumes a little bit later on, but he's going to go straight into arbs because it's much faster. It gives them a much faster power spike, and they're going to be able to start pushing this advantage that they've found now into the Imperial Age, and that's how you gain the momentum. Maybe if Melkor didn't go straight into the 3 TCs so quickly and they kept on the military pressure, they could have perhaps continued to bully Riot and prevent Riot from getting up to 15 knights and camels here.
Yeah, definitely. And I really like that decision because if you're going to be trying to boom up behind it, it's kind of, putting the ball back in, Heresy's court. And I really think that this map in particular is really about making sure your team can take the engagements they want to take with their armies, grouped up. But Imperial Age not in just yet. We're going to see BzK's fall back to the Castle of Miguel, which is coming in just the nick of time.
Yeah.
And I think they should be A-OK. We should be able to see Miguel comfortably get up to Arbalest and Bracer and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. There it is, Bracer Arbalest, and now they're looking to get some momentum swing. And it looks like Fëanor and Melkor are grouping up on this right side to face Miguel here, but they cannot push into this castle. There's no question about that. Even chemistry coming in here from Miguel. So this transition into Arbalest, it's super fast, it's super powerful, and these guys are going to be looking to push out as soon as those upgrades come in. I imagine that will be, well, pretty much now, actually, as, in fact, Melkor and Fëanor wheel around to the left side to hit poor old Riot once again. Riot seems to be taking the brunt of all this aggression at the moment.
Yeah, Heresy not a fan of how Riot just kind of smashed them in the last game. Gotta make him pay. But yeah, obviously, Miguel done. Is this time, Zach? Is it time for Obsidian Arrows? Is it time to live the dream?
It could very well be, actually. I mean, at the moment, they need to kill this army, so I'd say numbers rather than Obsidian Arrows right now. But if you want to start tearing down some buildings later on, why not? Here we go, though. Riot taking some damage now. That's a lot of knights. That TC could start going down, but uh-oh, here comes Miguel. There's no way that they can commit to taking out the TC here. Miguel's going to back up, try and get the knights from Riot in front, but oh man, the knights from Melkor splitting up here in half, and I think that's maybe not a mistake necessarily, but it will cost him a lot of knights. He will certainly push the Arbalest back though, and Melkor with a larger number of knights here might just be able to clean up the knights from Riot and allow them to focus on killing the Arbalest afterwards. But those Arbalests coming back in now, nearly one-shotting the knights. The damage that they do is huge. And yeah, that's got to have worked out well for BzK in the end there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it cannot be understated how much better Imperial Age units are compared to Castle Age units. Like, it might not seem like, oh, it's just one attack difference between Arbalests and crossbows, but just the way armor and stuff works out in this game, the Arbalests just are so much better at just picking off stray knights, one by one. And of course, as Mayans, you can just churn out so many Arbalests at once. Mm-hmm. Honestly, wouldn't mind to see like a 4th or 5th archery range here from Miguel. But yeah, definitely see Heresy on the back foot right now, down a fair bit in the score, and they need to cobble something together because neither of Heresy is on the way to the Emperor yet.
Yeah, but look at their economy sizes. We're at 110 villas for Melkor, 93 for Fëanor. Both of them way ahead of Riot and certainly even ahead of Miguel as well. So they do have the massive economy behind this. And I think now they're thinking about playing for the late game, recognizing, okay, well, let's just boom this out. Let's just take the late game. Problem is the momentum swing, and Miguel now already has a couple of trebs out. He's already building his 3rd castle, and the castle from Melkor may go down. Now, if Melkor and Fëanor want to play the late game, strengths of their civs, then Melkor is going to have to go for Mangudai. And if he loses these castles before he can even build them, if he loses access to his front stone, building these castles up and going into Mangudai isn't going to be a straightforward option.
Yeah, not at all. And well, there are still Arbalests running around the back of the base of Melkor and putting more villagers off of stone, further sort of hampering our green players' ability to get Mangudai up and rolling. And we've actually seen this a lot in ECL. Oh, it looks like the Arbalests might be trapped right now.
Oh, that's great. That's really good. And of course, as strong as those Arbalests are, I mean, absolute overkill on these crossbow. You have a whole group of Arbalest firing at a single crossbowman, and that just allows you to take, numerical advantage and clean that up. So that was a really good fight for Heresy. Important that they killed that. But Miguel is now switching into plumed archers anyway, so it's not like those Arbalest are expendable, but he does want to cash them in, trade them in for some plumed archers a bit later. I'm getting scared for Melkor, though. This is really, really powerful push from Miguel. 4 castles now, even taking over the stone at the front, and like I say, Miguel is not going to even allow Melkor to go into what I was looking for, Mangudai. So what's plan B? Well, plan B is definitely not going to be as good as plan A for Melkor here. Plan B at the moment, well, I don't even know what it is at the moment. He's got very little military production buildings. He's doing Cavalier.
And I am not a fan of this. I mean, I'm not a fan of any of the Mongols units at this point that is not a Mangudai or a siege unit. But Mongols lacking +4 armor for their Cavalier just allows these elite plumed archers just to
There's no way
poke them and down so easily. And I feel like we're about to witness the power of mines in the early to mid Imperial Age.
Absolutely, I agree. And this is the thing as well. Going Cavalier here, you know, it's probably the best of the rest for Melkor, but what else do you do as the Mongols? You know, if Mangudai are taken off the table, do you go Arbalest? No.
Not into the plumed archers.
No. Do you go Cavalier? Well, maybe. Do you do Onagers? Could be an option, I guess, but perhaps a bit too slow. But he's playing Cavalier from behind, and oh man, they're going to get torn apart. Riet's finally up to Imp as well, but it doesn't matter too much that he's so late to Imp, I guess, because Fëanor and Melkor are so busy defending from the single player that is Miguel.
Yeah, and, you know, Fëanor does have, you know, comparable numbers of Arbalests to elite plumed archers. It's just that Arbalests are so much worse than plumed archers. I mean, plumed archers, they're just so much faster, so much tankier, and they fire faster.
Yeah. I think Melkor needs siege. He has to make a siege here.
Yeah.
Rams, onagers, you know, the works. He has to build the siege. Anyway, here's the engagement here. Miguel and, versus Heresy. The Cavalier dropping very quickly. And of course, the Arbalest not doing too much damage against these plumed archers. Look how quickly they died. Oh my goodness. It's 2v1 versus Miguel, and he's not even receiving sling. He's just fine.
Zach, Miguel has 5 castles to make plumed archers.
He also has horse collar now as well.
Oh, the value.
Honestly, meanwhile, go ahead.
With a lot of civs, like that would be like, oh god, the amount of wood they've lost. But it's not that like Miguel's had that many farms.
No.
Not that big a deal. It's just kind of funny. But honestly, 5 castle plumed archer production is somewhat unbeatable at this point, unless, like you're saying, you have rams, onagers.
Oh, some rams. They're coming, actually. They're coming over from Fëanor. A little ram rush onto this castle here. 6 rams. Gonna take that down. Not too bad, but he has lost most of the Arbalest in the north, and the villagers from Melkor are dying very quickly. Looks like that castle's gonna fall as Riet does reach Imperial, and well, that seems to trigger the GGs from the Heresy brothers. Interesting game. Orlu, do you think that Heresy could have won that?
Yes, I do. I think they needed to really capitalize on their advantage and not go for the boom. It's kind of like they did a lot of damage to Riet, and then just kind of fell back. And then they're just constantly on the back foot, really unable to get the damage done onto Miguel. And he was just able to get to the Imperial Age and get the plumed archers, and then, GG's.
Yeah, honestly, I do think that Heresy, with Mongols and Chinese, against Chinese and Mines, you saw the early game, you saw how their mobility was much greater, thanks to having the faster feudal and the scouts. They had a great start. I just think they didn't transition and didn't snowball that. I think they should have pushed harder. Because once you give the Mayan player some breathing room, he's just going to do what he did. Just a faster imp and start snowballing it, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's something that I think that the Heresy guys can definitely learn from. I think that it's not like they were just totally outclassed in every, sense, despite this being a 2-0. I think that, if they, practice, I think a big thing for them should be like refining their early to mid games. But like if they can do that, I still think they can really be a challenge to these higher level teams.
Yeah, I think so too. I do really think that Fëanor and Melkor could have converted that into a victory. They were considerably far ahead in the early game. Unfortunately, it just wasn't to be for them. And once again, Heresy going to be knocked out here in the round of 8. They will be